How are you doing, folks? What I'm going to be doing for you today is an overview and a semi-review of a little iPhone application called Groceries. Now, as you can tell by the name, that's a groceries application which lets you basically manage and maintain your groceries list for when you go to the corner shop or to the supermarket. So we'll jump right into the application. I'll just slide this open here and you can see the application there. It's made by a company called Sophistication. I think I've pronounced that correctly, probably butchered it a little bit. As I know, it's actually one developer, and she's done a couple of other applications in the past that I've reviewed, such as Where To. She was involved in developing that. I think this is another one of the great applications that kind of comes through when you see developers putting some real effort into things in terms of user interface, usability, and kind of the way it works and the performance. So we'll jump right into it. One of the first things that stands out to me, I think one of the features that a lot of people might miss when buying this application is the fact that you can have multiple grocery lists. So, I mean, you can ask yourself, why do you really need multiple lists? Let me give you an example. I've got a local supermarket, which is Asda, and I've got a local corner shop as well. Now, obviously, those two shops stock different things, so I might actually want two different grocery lists. So say, for example, I want to edit this one to say supermarket. Let's save that, and then I want to add a different one, which is, let's say, corner shop. So obviously that's going to come in really handy straight away, purely for the fact that rather than having to recreate all these lists, I've got preset lists already there for me. So I'm going to go into the supermarket list, and as you can see there, I've got nothing in there at the moment because I've just set this up for a demonstration. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add something. So let's say I want some breakfast. So I want to remember to get some stuff for breakfast tomorrow. I'm going to go bread and bakery, and I like bagels. So I'm going to pick bagels there. There's nothing else in bread and bakery that I want for the time being. So what I'm going to do is I'll add something else. With my bagel, I think I'll have some bacon and cheese. So let's go back to the categories list. We'll find the bacon under meat. There it is, bacon. We'll go back again, and cheese will be under dairy. So we're going to pick dairy. Spreadable cheese, I think. Spreads. There we go. Excellent. Now we're done. So basically, for tomorrow, I'm going to have some bagels, bacon, and cheese spread. Now, if I'm not happy with this, I can just go straight away and edit it. So I can either remove them one by one, or I can remove them all, or move them into a different list. But I don't want to do that for the purpose of the demonstration. I'll leave them as it is. So what I can do now is I can either basically leave it as this. We can go back to my list and choose a different list, or I can actually email this list to someone. Say, for example, I'm not at home but I need somebody to pick up the shopping for me. So let's say I email this to my mum. So I'm going to send the email, and it's actually going to appear as a list. So basically a printout list of HTML stuff. So say it basically says bread and bakery, meat and dairy. So this is actually a really useful way of, rather than just having it on your iPhone all the time, you can actually send it to somebody else, and actually they'll be able to pick it up for you and read it out as it was intended to, which I think that's another great feature of this application. So I'll close that. We'll have to actually go back into the application now, and as you can see, there's actually a indicator there saying that I've got 3 items that I've listed to pick up. So I've mentioned email lists, multiple lists for, say, for example, supermarkets and corner shops. When you also want to add something, as you can see along the top, rather than having to go through the entire list from top to bottom, you can have favourites. So say, for example, you have 15 things that you buy every single time you go to the supermarket. So you have butter, you have milk, those kind of things. They can add into your favourites. To help along with that, you've also got history as well. So if you're not really sure what your favourite items are, what you always pick up, you can actually tell by the history that it shows you here. So that's pretty useful. Now, obviously, this is a preset database of information, so one of the bonuses of that is it comes loaded on the application and it's entirely offline, so you don't need any 3G or any Wi-Fi access to actually get onto this. But one of the downsides to that is it doesn't necessarily have all the information you need. So let's say we want to edit this. We can add categories, so we can add aisles as they call here, so grocery aisles, produce aisles, stuff like that. So we can add that if needs be, or what's more likely, if we're going to meat, and if we click the little plus button here, say I want to add, I don't know, smoked bacon. There we go. So as you can see here, if we go down to S, we should have smoked bacon. There we go. So that's something I've just added. So obviously you're actually able to add any list if you've got any specific things for your own application. A couple of upsides to this. I think it's got a very nice user interface, full set of features, so it comes preloaded, so there's no need to have any online access. You can add your own content, you can edit your own content, and you can arrange different lists. One of the things that I don't really like too much about this, I think probably one of the only downsides actually, is if we go to Done, here and we go back to lists. As I was saying before, if you have a supermarket or a corner shop, you can actually edit these. So I'm going to edit the corner shop. What I'd like to do is edit the layout, but as opposed to just reordering, as you can see along the right hand side here, I'd like to actually be able to get rid of aisles, because my corner shop doesn't have all these aisles. It doesn't have a frozen food section, it doesn't have a pasta and side dish section. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to delete those two. But at the moment all the application allows you to do is actually reorder them. So I suppose you could reorder them to the bottom where you can't really see them, but it doesn't necessarily function as I would like it to. This application will run you back, I think at the moment it's £2.99, so in the US it's going to be $5.99. Some might say that's quite a high price for such a simple application, but trust me in saying that when I have used this application, it does come in very handy, because rather than having scraps of paper different all the time, it allows you to basically have preset shopping lists, and it also kind of allows you to see what kind of budget you're looking at, because you can look at last week's price. So say for example it was £30 last week, you're buying the same thing, you know how much it's going to cost. I think the only reason you think it was slightly expensive is purely for the fact that other applications on the App Store, such as, say for example, Critter Crunch or Ramp Champ, they basically come in at, I think, 59p or 99 cents. Now that kind of gives the illusion that everything on the application store should be very cheap, but I think if it's a functional application, as Groceries is, and if it does provide features and functionality that are very useful to you specifically, I think it's well worth the money. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to drop them down in the comments. And also, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to take a look at the rest and subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.